Hello and welcome to the Optimized Show. Another great episode coming up. I am David Mamano, your host. Today on the show we have I'm gonna say a superstar. Yeah, because I get to put the word Disney associated with his name. I want to welcome Pete Blank to the show. Pete, welcome.
Hey, David. How are you? Thank you for having me, my friend.
I am so excited to have you here. Your energy, your content, everything about you is super amazing. So we met a few weeks ago in lovely Rochester, New York, and at the ATD conference, the Association for Talent Development. You were the keynote, and I got to tell you, and I don't say this to everybody, I fell in love with you. You were...
Hey. Hang on, let me give you... You got to.
Oh, okay.
Well, loving me. All right.
I appreciate that. No, you were really entertaining. You made us laugh, but at the same time, like tons of great takeaways. A lot of great content. So I want to do a little quick bio about you, and then we're gonna dig into the meat and get some questions for you. So Pete, you were a Disney cast member, as they call them, right? Way back in 1989. So we're talking. We're probably around the same age. I get that.
Yep.
And you were at Disney for 13 years.
Yep.
And I love they talk about everything that Disney does. They want to infuse magic, right? Magic into every experience at Disney, right? And so you were very involved with Disney University. Mm-hmm. And you did a lot of training at Disney, right? And that was, and we want to get into that. But then there was a great experience for you to go to now, bringing that Disney magic experience to government. Of all places, right?
Local government.
I mean, you went from one end to the other, right? You went from like fun to government, right?
Yeah,
but what a great opportunity / challenge for you to make government, to infuse magic in government of all places, right? And you're doing it. You're on the personnel board of Jefferson County in Birmingham, Alabama. That's the way we say it up here.
Birmingham,
right? There we
Alabama.
go.
Yeah.
Right behind you, Birmingham, Alabama, which I've never been to. Do they allow Italians now? Is that official?
They do, absolutely. Very open, diverse community. Everyone is welcome.
All right, I'm going to give it a shot. I watched my cousin Vinny, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to go down south, but
that's fine. You'll be good.
So very excited. And so you do leadership training, and really, if you look at it, you're doing about 7,000 local government employees every year. And I got to tell you, I think, kudos to you for doing what you're doing, but also kudos to the government agency for being open to having you there. Full-time trainer, Disney experience. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know if a lot of governments are, government agencies are into the full-time training that you're doing.
Yeah, it's really a nice opportunity, and what I mean by that is, and just in full disclosure, I only planned on working for local government for about a year. My whole thing was, okay, I had my Disney experience. Let's move to Alabama, where my wife is from. We want to raise our family, and let's go ahead and do this for a year, and then I'll get a real job. Then I'll go work for a Fortune 500 company or a big regional company. And I'll tell you, after being in local government for about a year, couple things reached out to me. Number one, the people are really great. They're just stuck in these processes of laws and regulations and rules that bog them down. And the second thing was there's just a lot of low-hanging fruit. Kind of like you said, there's like, I could bring in some of this Disney stuff and some of these ideas, and they would be like, oh, this is a good idea. We hadn't thought of that. So there's a lot of opportunity across all types of different government agencies here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what you're saying is you have the opportunity to look really smart often, right? Because they're like, whoa, treat your employees well? Wow.
Wow. Who would have thought of that? I think we'll try to do that. Yeah, very good.
What was it like when you first got there? Was it truly just like this vast open, opportunity?
Well, you have to remember, again, coming from the Disney organization, you were sort of tongue-in-cheek. I was going from the alpha to the omega, black and white, and for some reason, government, and we have to be careful too. I've learned this. I've got to segment these out because people say government and they include the federal government, the state government, and their local city government or town government in there. And really, they're all vastly different. So we got to be careful. Just because you don't like what's happening in Washington, D.C. doesn't mean that you can't have a great group of employees in your town or your community who are. So we want to be, that's one thing that because I say that all the time, oh, government is this and government's dysfunctional. You have to be very specific as to what you're talking about, number one. But number two, I really had to figure out, okay, Disney was very open and creative and try new things and innovation. And let me say this too, David. I'm going to use the word Disney a lot today. My Disney experience is in the theme parks and resorts side of the industry. So it's the same thing. When people hear Disney, they tend to lump it all together to the movies and the streaming and ESPN and the internet and things that are happening in the global company. And they're like, I don't like the Disney company, or I do like the Disney company. My experience comes from the guest service side in Disney World, Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, which was designed to do nothing but make people happy. That's pretty much your full-time job, is to make people happy over the course of their vacation. So to take some of that and try and infuse it into local government, it was a challenge at first because they weren't used to that. But I surrounded myself with great people, great trainers, and I had a director at the time who really said, hey, bring your stuff and let's throw it out there and see what happens. So I wasn't met with a whole lot of resistance. I was almost given the keys to the kingdom, if you will, the keys to the kingdom. And we're able to make some really good progress here in local government. Yeah.
That is fantastic. So tell us a little bit about here at the Optimize Show, our goal is to inspire leaders, help leaders, educate leaders, to optimize everything within their business. And of course, that includes the customer experience. And that was your role. What were some of the favorite things that you remember from Disney that you use today, and you're a keynote speaker, obviously that's how I met you, that you talk about? What are some of the things that you do that you love when companies are like, oh my God, we need to do that to make our customers just like raving fans?
Yeah, I was blessed to be there during a time at Walt Disney World and the Disney parks of really growth and development. It was just at the middle of the Michael Eisner era where we were building new theme parks and building new water parks and building new resorts, and everything was sort of on the up. This is pre the 2008 recession, that it kind of happened. And so one thing that I really got into, our executive vice president and our creative teams came up with these things called Take 5 and Magical Moments. And at the time they had a very HR soft connotation to them. But the whole idea was, if you just spend 5 minutes with a customer, with a client, by saying whether it's good or bad, what's happening, what's going on, how can I assist you? Those are things that were drilled into all the employees. That's, again, to kind of date myself and you as well. If there's time to lean, there's time to clean. We all grew up with that. So we changed that. Well, if there's time to lean, which means that there's nothing going on, it's time to go out there and talk to to stop cleaning your area, go out and talk to the customers, talk to the guests, talk to the people. So just take 5 minutes. And then the other one was Magical Moments, which was designed to go above and beyond. Just for no reason whatsoever, can you walk up to somebody and say, hey, we're going to take care of your dinner tonight? Hey, can we walk up to somebody and say, who's your favorite Disney character? And they go, Tigger. And we go, okay. And we walk them to the location where Tigger is at that moment and say, cut to the front of the line. Here's your Tigger. Those like magical moments that aren't planned. They just sort of happen and you can do some things with them. So what I tried to do is use that idea of Take 5 and with magical moments and bring them into local government to say, stop and do something nice for a citizen. Stop and do something nice or look at your employees. So those two customer service things are good externally for the external customer, but also for your internal employees, as well.
Yeah, it all goes back to, with my companies in the past and in what we're doing today. We're always trying to create wow moments where people are just like, wow, I can't believe he or she took the time to do that. And it might be a simple thing. It might be a very simple pat on the back. Great job. I noticed what you did there, and I was really impressed. What does that cost?
Whether you call them wow moments or magical moments or going above and beyond or land yap or a little something extra, it doesn't cost anything. But again, goes back to leadership development. The leaders have to hold the frontline employees accountable. Number one, the leaders have to do it as well, not just say go do this. But number two, they have to say, hey, have you done anything recently? Because today, today's customers are very transient isn't the right word, but they're more willing to hop to different locations. Back in the day, if you were a Disney fan, you were a Disney fan and we had you, regardless. But now, Las Vegas, the Bahamas, Universal, Dollywood, all these other places you can go. So when I go to a Disney theme park or when I get service here from local government, I better make sure that there's something that when I leave, I go, let me tell you about this cool thing that happened to me while I was there. It was unplanned, it was unexpected, and it made me want to book my next trip, made me want to go to that restaurant again, made me want to become a loyal fan. And that's why those are so important. I mean, we all know that. It's just doing it. That's the hard part.
Well, speaking of wanting people to book their next trip, you, like that, wrote a book.
And you should be doing this as a career. Well done.
I have your book. I won it when you were speaking because I was voluntoed. No, I actually volunteered to help you with something. So the book is called 55 Ways to Add Disney Magic to Your Organization, right?
Yeah.
Phenomenal book. Thank you for this. I've dug into it. And I just want to, you have so many of 55. 55 ways.
Before you get going, let me share the title with you because I've got a small blurb in there, but just because, the whole idea was let's do 71 because Walt Disney World opened in 1971. So I thought that would be really cool, make it 71 ways to add Disney magic. So I'm flying planes over, the last year while I'm writing the book and I'm typing things up and I'm getting to 30 and I'm getting to 40 ideas. And I got to like 45 and you sort of hit this writer's block and you're like, how am I going to come up with 30 more ideas? And I'm talking to my friend about it. And he's like, man, that's a lot more you got to write. He goes, when was Disneyland? When did Disneyland open? I said, 1955. He goes, bam. So it went from 71 to 55. The book got done like that, and no one.
I love that story. That's great. That's great. Well, you're that's adding some magic to being adaptive.
Absolutely, adaptability, creativity, bam. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so go ahead. I just wanted to.
The next one would have been, when was Walt Disney born? Oh, 1916. So okay.
Yeah. I got to do 60. Yeah. What I should have found was something that ended in 1901, so I could have just written a book about one.
Yeah, just one thing. Just one thing.
Yeah, that's it.
So I want to. There's obviously 55 things in there. I just want to touch on a few. I mean, I do encourage people to buy the book on Amazon, learn more about it. But the first one, make employee development a top priority. So a lot of people say make employees a top priority, but you're talking about development. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, the timing couldn't be better because, again, this book came out, depending on when this airs, a year, 18 months ago, approximately that. But as you look at the younger generation coming into the workforce today, you ask about what they want. And, back in the days, it was longevity and a career and raises and all this. And a lot of your data is showing that employees are looking for career development, professional development, upskilling. How do I get better at what I do? So the idea of and when you think about Disney, when I worked there, it was about 55,000 employees. It got to 60,000. And now it's treading water, depending someone in that area. But we can't just look at them as numbers. You can't just say, well, if you're not here tomorrow, I'll backfill you with somebody else because the labor market has changed and what everybody are looking for. So if people are looking to be developed, whether that's one-on-one coaching, whether that's learning a new skill, whether that's, believe it or not, all I want to do is learn about Disney. So can I get a backstage tour of the Haunted Mansion? Are there backstage tours of Epcot? If that's their development, let's help them do that. If it's about learning another skill set, let's help you do that. So again, if you just sit back and go, come on in, I'm going to teach you how to do your job. And that's all. Now you're highly skilled. After they've learned that, they're going to very soon go, well, now what's next? And if you say, well, no, there is no what's next. This is it. I mean, again, to put it in Disney terms, okay, we've got college interns that come down and they're going to work on an outdoor food cart. And so we spend 3 days training them on customer service and popcorn and sodas and how to do this and queue line management and all of that. And I'm telling you, within about 2 weeks, they've got it. They've got it down. And then they're like, okay, I've got 7 more months. What's next? If we go, that's it. Enjoy your 7 months. Many of them may move on, many of them may quit, or their morale will go down. So a constant state of development on what they want is so important.
Yeah, I totally get that. And I think you're also telling them that we're investing in you, we believe in you, and we want you, if you want to stay here, which we hope you do, we want you to succeed and grow. and grow beyond, serving sodas. Maybe you want my job someday. Great. We're here to help you develop that, right?
And you know what? That goes all the way up to the leadership ranks as well. You and I may have worked in operations during a time of, this is the old phrase we used to use. Here's your keys. Here's your radio. Back in the day when there were no cell phones. Here's your keys. Here's your radio. Here's your desk. Call me if you need me. And then we leave those managers and leaders out to dry to figure it out. They need conflict resolution training and how to give coaching and how to give feedback and how to motivate your employees. So the development is not just the frontline employees. Everyone needs. That's why there's so many programs like, we have here Leadership Birmingham and Leadership this city, because they realize the importance of creating networks and growing and developing employees as they go. So it is important. That's probably why it's chapter 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm a graduate of Leadership Rochester. So thanks for bringing that up. Yeah,
that's important stuff. I'm telling you,
and it affected me in many, many ways, not only the leadership but the relationship. So yeah, excellent. 100%. So the next one, promote from. This kind of leads to it. Promote from within, whenever possible.
Whenever possible. Yeah. Back when I worked at Walt Disney World, it was probably about an 80-20 internal promotion rate. Again, Disney has they got the hook, because most people just say, I want to work at Walt Disney World or Disneyland. And then you're like, well, where? And they're like, I don't care. Just, I want to get in. So, Disney has the hook, which is great company, great customer service, great leadership, great brand, great rep, and you're going to learn a lot while you're there. But then the challenge comes in. Where do I go? How do I get promoted? So the people who work on the front lines, those are normally the best ones to move all the way up in the organization. Now, again, you're well aware, like I am, of this thing called the Peter Principle, not named after me, which is the Peter Principle is you're promoted to your highest level of incompetence. And so here's the interesting part, and this is an interesting dynamic in local government, is a lot of promotions in local government are made based on, well, you've been here the longest. Okay. You're a police sergeant. You've been here for 20 years. You're next. You're now going to be the lieutenant. You're the admin assistant. You've been here 15 years. You paid your dues. You're now, and really now they get promoted, but they are not the ones that should have been there. It's the high performers that are being overlooked. So you have to change this mindset. It's not based on seniority. It's based on passion and growth and opportunity and an ability to deliver. So we've had to sort of shift that, that dichotomy a little bit, that it's not about how long you've been here. It's about how much you want to add value to the organization.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. And then maybe being flexible to say, okay, this didn't work out. Let's find another role, right? I can't tell you how many times you've probably seen this. You see the top sales guy become the sales manager.
Yep.
And they're terrible. And they go back to being in sales and they're happy again. And it works out. Instead of letting them go because they were a bad manager. Let's reevaluate this. You were making 6 figures and you were happy as the top sales guy. Let's do that.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I tell people all the time, be careful what you wish for, because I can't wait to get promoted into management. And I go, did you think that your management job would involve you resolving a conflict between 2 employees and one used the microwave and didn't clean it out properly? And now they're yelling at did you know that that's what you're getting paid for a lot of times? It's not, we have these visions of motivation and inspiration and changing the culture. And now you two are arguing because someone's in somebody's parking space and you have to figure this out. And you're like,
yeah. No, a lot of people don't know that management is actually Latin for glorified babysitter.
You're exactly right. Touche.
So next up, act like a leader at all times. What do you mean by that?
Now, why are you reading this? Now you've read my example in the book on this one. See, this is a hard one that I had to learn, because when I got promoted into management, I think I was 23, 24. So now here I am leading people who are older than me, managing people, and I'm still, I don't know when the male human brain fully develops. Do you have the answer to that? Is it?
Well, I'm 54. I'm hoping it's 55. So
I'm hoping it comes soon. But you have to know that people are watching you at all times. And again, what happens is anybody can interview well. Like if I know there's going to be a promotion for this job or someone's retiring, I can practice and be ready for the interview and be ready for that. But what we try to train people here and remind them is your interview for your next job is happening every single day at work, because people are watching you when you walk through the Disney theme parks, when you're helping a customer, when you're picking up trash in the parking lot, when you're not supposed to, when you're doing take fives and magical moments. That's part of that's part of the interview process, because when you get in that room, you can interview great, but people will go, yeah, but I've seen this him or her that's not what you saw is not what they really are. So this whole act like a leader at all times is just a very simple, you got to turn it on when you're at work. I don't care what your role is. People are watching you, and you can make or break the brand of your business, your county, your city, your agency. And that's why this whole idea of being a leader, you have to turn off some of the things you used to do that was fun, especially here. And again, I'm going to get off track here. There's this book, From Buddy to Boss. I forgot who. I think it was Kevin Eikeberry, I think, wrote it. But it's the whole idea of you were working side by side with people. Now they're your supervisor. So you were their buddy. Now you're their boss. And boy, you have to flip that switch, because you are no longer their buddy. And it's a great learning opportunity to be the leader at all times.
Yeah. No, it's tough. And I like what you said, that sometimes it means picking up the trash, and I have seen that. I think, you see good leaders that are willing to do whatever it takes. Nothing is, above them or beneath them, right? I should say. And, I remember being in a company kitchen, and there was something on the floor, something had spilled, and it was just sat there for a couple days. Yep. And the leader of the company was out of town. He came back, and then I saw him cleaning it. And so I saw that, and I think a lot of people saw that. So guess what? Next time I see a mess in the kitchen, I know that he did it. I'm going to do it too, and it was inspiring. That little thing was inspiring. And
it's not for show. It's not to say, look at me, I'm lowering myself to your level. If I can do it, you can do it. It's just, that's what we do. It's an all hands on deck mentality. Disney teaches you on day one in orientation. They say, how many custodial cast members are in the room of 30 new hires? And 2 will raise their hands. And then we'll say, no, how many custodial cast members? And we're like, everybody raise your hand, because you don't just stand back if you see something and say, well, call some. That's why the Disney parks and resorts hopefully are so clean, because every Disney cast member knows you don't call somebody. You don't say, that's not my job. That's custodial's job. You get in and you fix it. And that's leadership. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. From the top down. Yeah. Yeah. Love it. So this is one of my favorite ones. Number. Hey,
by the way, if we're going through all 55, we're going to be here a while. What number?
No, I've skipped around. I'm already at number 33. I skipped around some of my favorite. Number 33.
We're losing viewers by the moment. They're like,
right. No, we're gaining them. People are calling, saying, you got to get out. You got to watch this. You got to watch this.
What's number 6?
Pete is fantastic. He's not only so handsome, the content is amazing.
Amazing. Double whammy. Yeah, the full package.
So number 33, one of my favorites, being Italian, you might be able to guess what it is. Exhibit appropriate body language. And you may have heard that, being Italian, we have the joke that how do you shut up in Italian? You tie his hands behind his back, right? So, and I'm not sure we're using, body language appropriate all the time, because we could be very, let's say, effervescent with our passion. But how do you use body language appropriately?
Well, we've got the old style and the new style. So again, what the old style is, which is we've always been told, don't cross your arms in a meeting, watch your facial expressions. Don't do that, because again, at Disney, you want to be approachable. That's one of the key components. People have questions all the time. People don't want to be made to feel stupid. And, there's an old joke, what time is the 3:00 parade, that people used to ask. It doesn't translate anymore because the parades are all over, 12, 3, whatever. But they weren't asking what time is the 3:00 parade. They were asking, where can I stand? And, where's the best place to view it? And what time will it get here? And if your body language is, rolling eyes and all of that. So when I move into the new body language, what I mean is in this virtual world that we're in my opinion, this is my opinion. In my opinion, having your camera off during a Zoom meeting is poor body language. Now, some people are going to disagree with me. Some people are going to say, no, you don't have the right to infuse. So, and I've had plenty of, my stance is very clear on Zoom or Teams meetings or whatever. Your camera is on. In fact, we have training classes here where we do them virtually. They're live for local government. And we'll tell them, if your camera is off, we'll let you be off for about 60 seconds in case you got a cough or use the restroom or whatever. But if it doesn't come back on, we kick you out of the training class. We remove you from the Zoom room. You have to, and some people don't like that. But the reality is that's almost the new body language, which is, I can't tell if you're shutting down. I can't tell if you're getting what I'm saying. I can't tell what's going on. And so that's been a point of really good, healthy conflict for us, because we've gotten a lot of feedback of some people don't like doing that. But I think it's important. And so there's all these new types of body language that people are exhibiting through the virtual world that we have to be aware of.
Yeah, it's such a great point in this post-COVID world. I do speaking as well, like you,
Yeah.
and sometimes it will be on Zoom, and when they are not, when they have their video off, the energy is totally off for me because I don't know if they're paying attention, if they're checking their phone. If they're doing something completely different, if they're not liking what I'm saying, or I guess the best part is if they do like what I'm saying and they're laughing and I can see they're engaged, that's giving me energy to be my best self.
That's feeding you. My pushback, which is not well accepted, is always this: would you go to an in-person staff meeting with a bag on your head? And if you would do that, then turn your camera off. But if you would leave the bag off your head in an in-staff meeting, then the same should apply in a virtual meeting. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I haven't heard that before. That's fantastic.
Hashtag, quote that, trademark that.
I love that. That's all you. That's going to be all over Twitter. Thank you. So last but not least, I love this. So deliver an amazing welcome. And I'll tell you a quick story about why I like this so much. My first job out of college, all right, I was in radio sales. So excited. Okay. I was that kid that you wanted to hire. I was in sales. I bought a brand new suit at JCPenney, got up early. I was pumped to be there. Get in the office, my boss sees me. You know what he says? Huh. Oh, that's right. You're starting today. Oh, right? Talk about deflating all, four of my wheels at once. Right. And, there was no plan. Oh, sit here. Here's a phone book. Make some calls. Colleen will spend some time with you today. And you know what? I never got it right at that company because of that, right? My momentum was like killed. No matter what they did, I was kind of like, And then years later, when I started my own company, man, when somebody started, we had a party for them. We had a breakfast party for them. They had an orientation schedule. They would meet everybody that week. I'd take them out to lunch at the end of the week. How was your experience? Their business cards were done. Their computer was set up. Their email was set up. I wanted them to go home to their spouse, significant other would be like, I love where I work. Oh my God, this is crazy. Red carpet treatment, So tell me about what do you mean by that?
Well, sidebar, chapter 55 is what? Go ahead and open it up. Read
chapter 55 is, remember that employee's first day is their most important day. Yes.
So you just validated that point as well. So the neat thing, the neat thing about this book, I think, is that you can take it from a customer service mind and customer experience mind, or you can take it from an internal employee mind. And as a leader or a manager, the things we're talking about for a guest service experience can also apply to an employee experience. And that's what the whole welcome is about. Again, Disney teaches all of its cast members, at least in the theme parks and resorts, that there's this anticipation that the guests have to come. I mean, they have been thinking about this trip. They've been saving for it. They've been getting a second mortgage. They've been doing everything they can to get excited and tell their kids about all this stuff. And when they get there, I don't care if they come through a toll plaza or a hotel or a front gate or an attraction, and that person is not saying, welcome, we're glad you're here. Welcome. But it's not like, once they get past the monorail station, no one else has to say welcome, because you have to welcome them over and over and over. So the same thing applies in our city halls. If someone says, welcome, come on in, and they go through security at City Hall, and then they pass somebody in the hallway, that person should say, welcome, good morning, how are you? And then when they get to the tag office or whatever, it should be, hey, next in line, welcome, how can I help you today? Because that's the key, is to make everybody feel like they're supposed to be there during that day, whether you work in something as monotonous and maybe not as flashy like local government, or in a Disney experience, or a restaurant, or a car wash, or a hospital, or daycare, whatever you do, everyone. We love to feel welcome. Not that you're an intrusion in my day. Not that, man, my day was going to be great and then you showed up. I mean, this is the kind of thing when, like, you go to a restaurant, it's kind of busy, and then you like sit down and the server or someone says, we are swamped today. I wish this many people wouldn't have come. You're like, well, welcome.
Right. Yeah. Feeling special.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So the welcome has to be reminded that it's not just a one-time thing. And again, we talk about the whole welcome being at Disney. We have these buttons that we give out to people that say first timer, or, happy anniversary, or my birthday, and this is what I try and tell in local government. I'm like, if you've got kids coming in to get your license tag renewed or whatever, have little stickers that say first time in City Hall. So you can, or, first time to a city council meeting. So that when you're walking out, people are like, oh, welcome. Oh, it's your first time here. Oh, you haven't been to, I mean, people think that that's silly, but that 30 seconds of a sticker and that magical moment and whatever can change the entire dynamic of the experience that they're going to have. So yeah, I mean, sorry to soapbox on the welcome, but you think it's important. I think it's just as important.
Yeah, no, completely. I remember from the 80s, there was that little coffee table book called Life's Little Instruction Booklet. And number one was, remember that? Yeah.
Yep.
And number one was a person's greatest need is to feel appreciated, right?
Appreciated.
And it's done with love, it's done with wow, it's done with magic. So, Pete, this has been phenomenal. We could talk for hours, as we mentioned before. But with the attention span today of people, we try to keep the shows around a half an hour. But super, super fantastic. Pete, if people want to learn more about you and your content and et cetera, where do they go to find you?
Well, my website is peteblank.com. It's just my name, peteblank.com. I'm also a big fan of LinkedIn. That's my main social media site. And you can find me on LinkedIn, connect with me or follow me there. But on my website, I'm like you. I feel like I'm here to sort of give and help others and do all that. So I do a lot on video as well, just like you. So if you go to my website and go under free multimedia content, there's videos, there's short interviews, there's short webinars, there's 2-minute video clips, whatever you're in the need for motivation or inspiration. As long as you don't mind looking at this mug for 2 minutes, it'll help you. It'll help you on your journey. So just my website, peteblank.com.
Pete, with a face like yours, I can't blame you. You need to get out there more and more with that face. So thank you for doing what you're doing.
This is why I also started in radio, David, as you are well aware. I have a face for radio.
Yeah, now in today's world, a great face for podcasting, right? But yeah. Well, Pete Blank, and once again, I'm going to hold up the book. Please buy it. Please check it out. Pete Blank, 55 Ways to Add Disney Magic to Your Organization. Pete, thanks so much for being on the Optimize Show. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for what you're doing. I appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome. Wishing you continued massive success. We want to thank all of you watching the Optimize Show today. Stay tuned for new episodes every Wednesday morning. Make sure to have a great day and stay awesome.